Just me and Master Chief watching the downfall of Destiny. No, not that Destiny. That's just too bad. Ain't that right, Master Chief? Yeah. So CNN's talking about Destiny, not the video game Destiny. I wonder if they got anything good to say about him. I don't know. How are they gonna portray this guy? Are they gonna bring up all the sex pestiny stuff? Probably not. We'll see. We'll see.
CNN did a video about Destiny.
Woo!
Oh boy, here we go.
Everybody's talking about streamers.
Yeah, I just got escorted from Kirk, baby.
I can't wait until they make a video about Hassan.
We're in Tampa, Florida for Turning Point USA's annual Student Action Summit. TP USA is a voter-driving juggernaut for the Republican Party, led by 31-year-old
Toilet Paper USA, let's go!
Charlie Kirk.
They're happy, that's why you know they haven't been on social media.
But this year's event will be menaced by something called the
I thought he was older. I didn't know he was 31. I thought he was older.
America Tour, started by a group of progressive influencers and organizers, including the massively popular.
There he is.
Yep.
All right.
Streamer Destiny.
This is the all roads lead to Rome thing, right? So he can do the exact same behavior you said that Biden couldn't get away with doing.
Destiny. He looks like a
They want
like a
to bring
lame
progressive
nerd.
debate to Kirk's doorstep, but
That's
first they have to get in.
So
He seems like the whiny, nerdy kid in high school that nobody likes, nobody talks to.
Point has cancelled all of UNF America's credentials, and now they're trying to sneak in Destiny so he can debate inside.
Only talks to the bitchy girls that also nobody likes, that are kind of hot, but not hot enough to be so bitchy.
Here.
Oh, uh-oh. They're trying to bring him in.
Alright, he's in.
He's wearing sunglasses so they can't see him.
So Destiny has
Like Superman did the same thing. You know, he wore glasses.
made it
Sneaking
inside the
him in,
building,
yeah.
and we'll see how long he lasts.
There's a major streamer
look
named
who it
Destiny
is.
who's a Democratic liberal streamer.
What the fuck is
He
that?
appears to be debating Myron Gaines,
Is this the trans dude that's always talking about how woke is a joke?
who's more of a right-wing red pill guy. They're both sort of creepy.
Oh, God. Do you remember, I've never seen Myron happier than when those girls were discussing why Hitler did what he did to the Jews. I don't know if he's ever been happy. I've never seen him smile more.
Features of like internet trolldom, but it should be a lot of fun. You know, it's like blood sports. It's like watching a cockfight, effectively. We love to see
It
it.
really is.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Love to see it. It's great.
We are at Student Action Summit. We got Destiny and Myron here today. Have a little friendly conversation.
Yeah.
You know?
Man, good to see you, bro.
Young people may be tuning out the news, but this new form of live, provocative political debate is blowing up online. Its cultural significance is something well known to Kirk because he's part of it.
Oh, it's democratic socialism. It's completely
I love this
different.
question. I love this question.
And
I could talk about socialism for hours.
Hello, everyone. I am Charlie Kirk, founder of Turning Point USA,
Hello,
and
Charlie
I am
Kirk.
surrounded by 20 woke college kids.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Under a tent with the words "Prove me wrong," Kirk brought online debater culture directly to hundreds of college campuses.
I
during
do think this is a really good idea. I mean, like, the fact that he goes out and does this is a great content idea. I know Steven Crowder did something that's similar to this, too.
Yeah, it's great propaganda. And I'm not saying that propaganda is even a bad thing. Because I like some propaganda, right? I like those old Army, like, Go Army commercials where they're, like, comparing it to Call of Duty when they're talking about video games and shit. I love that shit. That's the kind of shit that gets me to want to join the military, you know? I wish that the left could do stuff like this. I really do. The left, whenever they do stuff like this, it ends up being like a hate mob. They end up being the thing that they're supposed to be against.
Yeah, is this video edited to enlarge his face? I don't know. Maybe you're right.
last election cycle.
We have a problem in Black America. The biggest problem is not racism. It's the lack of dads. When exactly do heart waves begin in utero?
You know that, but you don't know the
Hold on, no, you know, so tell me when.
Damn it! I don't want to agree with Charlie Kirk, because I just don't like his politics. But he brings up stuff like that. It's like straight up facts. Like the biggest problem we face is there's not enough fathers. And I'm like, yes, that is true. Also, good fathers.
And while he uses it to make viral content, its primary goal is to register Gen Z to vote MAGA.
Well, of course. I mean, obviously. I mean, like, I don't know if this is really an accusation. You know, are you truly accusing this guy of maybe using his political position to make people believe in his politics? I could see that. I could see that making sense.
The fact that we are now becoming we're becoming the cool kids now.
But no, I just want to be clear. Is there something wrong with talking to voters?
No, there's nothing wrong with talking.
Well, that's what we're doing here today. It's an open mic.
I think that you push a dangerous agenda.
It's a strategy.
Of course you do. People like this always use the word dangerous.
Okay, I think also, I think what she said is true. But I don't think she has any idea what she's talking about. I don't think she knows why it's dangerous. Because I don't think the agenda right now is dangerous. I think everything's perfectly fine. Everything is hunky-dory. I'm just worried about how everything that's being done now is going to be utilized by evil people in the future. Because they're going to see all these things that Trump's doing. They're like, we can do that too for our things. And it's going to fucking suck. I tell you, it really is. And they're going to be doing things that they're not allowed to do. Not saying that Trump's doing things he's not allowed to do. But they think that Trump is doing things that he's not allowed to do. So they will outright do it and say, well, Trump did it. And then that's going to cause both sides to start doing it, because one side will be like, well, they're doing it. Just look at Texas. Just look at that situation that just happened in Texas.
Because they want to equate a conversation with violence. Because if they do that, they can justify being violent in a response to a conversation.
That those behind UNF America say the DNC has been absent to counter.
I hate Charlie Kirk. I think he's actually a Satan spawn, but he's very...
Well, there's your problem right there. You hate Charlie Kirk. I think Destiny is a garbage person and he doesn't deserve to be on the internet. I don't think that he should be kicked off the internet. I think that he should just himself choose to not be on the internet anymore. I just very, very much dislike him, but I don't hate him. I think hating people is fucking stupid.
Very strategically minded.
At an event organized by the UNF America crew down the street from the convention center, both conservatives and liberals packed into a pub to eat chicken wings, drink beer, and watch conservative voices try to take on Destiny.
Have you ever fired an AR-15? Yeah. So you fired a 5.56. The mathematical odds of him surviving that are infinitesimally small.
They're infinitesimally high if it misses him, or grazes his ear.
Charlie Kirk's been doing this a long time, more than 10 years.
Oh, that's about Trump, about the fucking nut. That's the assassin.
Why has it taken the left so long to catch up and still hasn't caught up?
Republicans vertically are very well integrated when it comes to...
I think one of the big reasons why a lot of left-wing policies aren't popular online is because they're not popular in real life. If you're talking about like a lot of these edge case issues, stuff like no borders, the trans issues, stuff like that, it's because they're not popular, period. That's the reason why. I mean, if you interview and you...
I think the problem is that in a perfect world, all of the things that the left wants, sure. Why not? We'll give trans people their own bathroom. We'll give them 2 bathrooms, 3. We'll give them 3 bathrooms. Perfect world, everybody gets their own fucking bathroom everywhere they go. In a perfect world, there'd be 10 different leagues of sports for all of the different identities. 1 million leagues of sports, and they all make the same amount of money. In a perfect world. In a perfect world, you can be a man one day and a woman the next day. Perfectly, completely transitioned. Flip-flop all you want. You can be a man 5 times a day, woman 5 times a day. Just remove the parts. Like Katya from Archer. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Where was I going with that?
You poll people and you see what the numbers are, it very clearly indicates that this is a deeply unpopular position to have. It's imaginary thinking. Exactly, it is. And I think that also another big issue and the other big reason why they're not popular is because the people that are pushing them are generally very autocratic.
Oh, yeah. In a perfect world, everybody can go across all the borders for every country as they please, and it not be a problem, and everybody's peaceful, everything's cool, you can do what you want. But this isn't a perfect world. These things can't just work because they're evil, incredibly evil, dangerous people. And they take advantage of all of these good things that we try and do.
And they're trying to push them, and they demonize anybody else who doesn't think like they do. And I think that alienates people. It does in the long term.
Because they're stupid.
Making sure that they're winning elections. Right? There's the people who in 2020 they thought the election was stolen in every state, basically.
True.
But they still showed up to vote next time. So something is happening there where they're really big on going out and winning elections. And I think
to be fair, people said that the 2016 election was rigged by Russia, and they still came back and they voted in record numbers for Biden. I think that ever since the 2016 election...
By the way, everything they say is a projection, and them saying that the election was rigged by Russia makes me think that, by the way, it was a whole hoax that was put together by Obama to not allow Trump to be elected. Like, that makes me think that they actually did some crazy, shady shit to get Biden elected. Which I already know a lot of things they did, just like right out front, right out the gate, with the mail-in ballots and all of that. That was some bullshit.
Every election has been fake. That's it. Every election is fake. Every election is rigged. People were saying that even the 2024 election was rigged. And what else can you do? Yeah, I know, right? But that's what I'm saying. They're still
not
saying it? I'm just saying, right? That's
they're not, but everybody always says that is what he's saying. I think that probably the amount of rigging that happens is about equal on both sides. And it's not really that they're doing any rigging. They're just making maneuvers to manipulate people into voting certain ways. And people eat that shit up. And sometimes they do some crazy shit where, like, they mail in ballots that were of dead people.
That's the reason. I disagree with that. I don't think any of the elections were rigged, and I think that people are just coping with losing.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
I think it's about probably maybe 2% rigged.
Every single level, to where when people are organizing...
Directly rigged. I think everything leading up to the election is rigged. 100%.
Or when people are creating alternative media networks, whether you're talking Tim Pool, influencing other ones like Joe Rogan, or trying to do things with college kids like Charlie Kirk. They're making these events and they're gathering all these different people. For Charlie Kirk, it's school kids, but the single focus is winning elections. It's incredible.
I think that's a good point. Obviously, like, they're definitely focused on the goal more than the left is. And this is kind of what I was discussing more yesterday about, maybe this is the day before, I don't remember exactly, about how I think a lot of left-wing thinking ends up Ouroboros cannibalizing itself. Because if you agree with,
man, it's like I start talking about Ouroboros and everybody starts talking about Ouroboros. It's crazy how this keeps happening. Is it because somebody else was talking about it and I didn't realize it and it got implanted in my head? And it's just like we're all hive-minding these words into existence? I don't know, man. It's crazy how this keeps happening. More Pegasus, people are doing it with him. It's just like, is everybody watching More Pegasus? They have to be. Because we're all saying the same stuff. Did he just accidentally watch somebody? I don't know. I heard somebody the other day say diabolical, and I was like, whoa! Are you watching More Pegasus? Or are you watching Nux or something?
A leftist person on 9 out of 10 things, the one thing that you don't agree on will get them to call you a Nazi. And if you can agree with a conservative on 1 out of 10 things, they can still work with you on those 1 out of 10 things and not call you a fucking communist evil person. Now, obviously, there are extremes that do not really follow this, but I do think this is a general trend. This is definitely a general cultural trend that liberal thought is much more narrow than conservative thought right now. And the acceptance of different viewpoints, etc., is very, very narrow inside of, like, liberal and leftist spaces. And the endless Russian nesting doll of purity testing has caused them to lose a lot of elections. 2020 was indeed rigged. I don't want to talk about that. I literally don't even want to talk about it.
Yep,
I don't want to get into it. I don't want to argue it. I don't care. You think it's rigged? That's true. Go ahead.
Yep.
I think most people are actually
done.
more open to
It
disagreement. I don't think it's helpful to say that if you don't agree on 100%, then the opposite spectrum will help you. I do think that there's a trend, though. I do think
the only spectrum I know is the autism spectrum.
Absolutely, there's a trend.
Incredibly important. And somehow I feel like on the left, I don't know how this happened online. Maybe it's because we tend to be younger or whatever, but somehow the party's messaging apparatus, it feels like it's gotten hijacked from people by people who won't vote for your candidates.
The reason why is because it's been hijacked by virtue signaling narcissistic liberals that are mentally ill. That's the reason why, is that it's being hijacked in the entire messaging campaign. Destiny doesn't realize this, and I think he does realize this, but I think that the reason why it's happened is because a lot of the people are there for these movements, not for the actual movement itself, but for how the movement makes them feel. So it doesn't really matter what the outcome is for them, because it's not about the outcome. It's about the way that they feel whenever they participate in the behavior.
It's all about the fifis.
They view political opinions and different types of political messaging as social accessories.
Yeah, I feel like that's wrong. I hear that so often from crazy people. I feel like you're kind of racist. I'm like, ah, shit, you got me.
And because they're using political messaging and political activism as a social accessory, it doesn't matter to them whether that messaging is effective or not, because it's not about being effective. It's about being able to be seen as a person who has these viewpoints. And that's what happens.
I think is incredibly destructive.
It's massively destructive, by the way. It completely is destructive. I think a great example for this is think about how many super hardcore pro-Palestine people refused to vote for Kamala Harris, even though she aligned with them on more issues. Like whenever you take these extreme viewpoints and she condemned Hamas or something like that. That's true. Yeah, it was not good.
Yep.
Who cares about left or right? Just go for common sense. Well, I'm talking about a general trend, right? Uber safe space people. Yeah, exactly. Destiny still shills for Democrats. Well, I mean, Destiny, I think, is just trying to be pragmatic, right?
Yeah, he's like lesser of two evils. They're all evil. Democrats are just less evil. That's the kind of attitude that he's working off of. And I don't play those bullshit games. 98% of them, get them the fuck out of there. But it's never gonna happen. I think as things get better over time, things are gonna get so much worse.
Right? I mean, that's all there is to it. Echo chamber mentality? Yeah, I would say so. Kamal was booed when discussing Hamas. Exactly. And that's because it's been taken over. Any of the people that are booing Kamala Harris for, talking about Hamas negatively, if they were under the control of Hamas, their life would be a living hell.
Has anybody ever played Civilization and had a golden age start right as soon as there's a revolution starting? Like people are trying to rebel against you and you got people burning down your buildings in your capital. But also, you're having the greatest era of the entire game, the most gold generation. It's just, for some reason, your happiness is really, really low. And these fucking morons keep crashing out, even though the actual military of the government is 1,000,000 times better than these little rebel groups that keep popping up. That's just kind of what it's feeling like. And I think that's where we're headed. We're going to have a golden age and an attempt at a revolution happening at the same time. And the revolution is a bunch of stupid people who have no idea what they're doing.
But they're not. And so they get to live in a comfortable, air-conditioned home where they can order DoorDash and they live in a gated community. And, the police come if you call the police if you hear a weird noise at night.
I've been noticing a lot of people that I know are starting to not use air conditioning. That's a weird thing that's happening. Like, it'll be 100 degrees outside, and they're just not using air conditioning in their house anymore. They might, like, air condition a room, but nobody's really air conditioning their houses. I know, like, 4 people that's doing this. One of the groups of people directly connected to me. I go there every day. They just don't have air conditioning. They do, but they don't use it. Which would be weird if one person was doing it. But no, it's like multiple households.
These people never have to live the consequences of their own performative empathy. And so instead of that, they have no problem virtue signaling about how good these freedom fighters are on the other side of the world that starve people, that kill their own people, that are oppressive religious fanatics. They don't have to worry about that because it'll never happen to them. And that's what I was really saying before about how it's not about winning. It's about sending a message. And the message isn't that you like Hamas. It's that you're a good person on the right side of history. And that's what matters the most. You're assuming that she would actually eliminate...
I don't get that whole right side of history thing. Because I think history is so fucked up, so messed up, that a lot of it we just don't know. And, like, it's written by the victor. You know? And the victor isn't always right. I would rather be right in the eyes of God than right in the eyes of history. You know what I mean?
Eliminate Hamas, and they're even allowed to support terrorists. Well, yeah, sure. I mean, they can do whatever they want to do, but like, I'm just saying that, you know, if they did have to live there, they would be very unhappy.
Thing like this.
Nothing. And I will say, like, Charlie Kirk is honestly one of the best organizers of our generation.
Yeah.
And I think that,
he does a good
you know,
job.
as much as I disagree with Charlie Kirk, I believe that what he's doing has worked. And that's why I'm here to replicate what he's doing. I'm not here to...
This is smart. And I think Democrats are smart to adapt this. If you can't recognize the advantages and the strengths in your opponents, you will never be able to overcome them or defeat them ever.
Disrupt Charlie Kirk's events. I'm here to say that there are alternative ideas and that we need to build the same thing that he has, because he is good at it.
Yeah.
Z Cohen.
What the fuck was that? Hold on. What is this? The Unfuck America? What is that?
Disrupt Charlie Kirk's events. I'm here to say that there are alternative ideas and that we need to build the same thing that he has, because he...
I wish I had internet right now. I'd just look it up. I don't know what the Unfuck America is.
He is good at it.
Yeah.
Z Cohen Sanchez has worked more than a decade on Democratic campaigns.
Yeah, good for her.
There's no reason why we can't do this. This is not very expensive to do. We have so many PACs on the Democratic side raising millions of dollars,
The reason why you can't do it is you have too many Russian nesting dolls of purity tests. There are too many drink the Kool-Aid things that you have to believe that alienate average voters, like the Hamas support, like the trans, like athlete support, especially trans kids support. You need to cut that out of the Democratic Party. If you want to win elections, you have to remove that from your from your vocabulary. Like, right-wing people for a very long time were against marijuana. Like, even legal, even not legal,
it was fucking stupid.
Even medical marijuana, they were against it, and it was a losing proposition.
Which actually, by the way, right-wing people were not against it. Just the right-wing people who voted were against it. All of the right-wing people that I know, they all smoke. All the old people that I know, they're like 60s and 70s. But maybe the older right-wing people that were like 80s, 90s, 100s, 110s, you know, a lot of them dead now, would be 110, but they've been dead for 20, 30 years, whatever. A lot of those people that have been long dead, they were against it. Probably because of all the Reefer Madness campaigns and stuff. But it's not that way anymore, man.
I would say Trump was probably the first candidate that didn't really run on marijuana being this evil, bad, devil's lettuce type thing. I still am, but much less so, right? Like that, the amount of it that was happening in like 2005 versus when Donald Trump first ran as president, it's like a mountain versus a molehill. It's not even remotely close. It was 1/10 of what it was. Abortion, yeah, abortion's another example, right? And so I think that right-wing politics has done a very good job at trying to remove the super divisive issues that their radical groups try to push, and they've still stuck with like base messaging that resonates with enough people. But I think Democrats have been so infested with like this hyper extremism and hyper radicalism that, again, only exists for the nature of it existing. It's not actually things that people like that even believe in. It's just what they say they believe in so they can feel good.
Yep.
We are not a big
Couldn't have said it better myself.
PAC. We haven't even raised $1 million yet.
Probably
and we're
could've,
able to get
but-
all of these creators essentially anywhere that Charlie is. And so
He already
that's
said
what
it.
we really want the Democratic Party to do is we want to have them to start investing in these movements.
Is the DNC supporting this?
They should be. They should be supporting it. If they want to win, they should be supporting it, absolutely.
No,
They're
not
retarded.
currently.
And the reason why the DNC isn't supporting it is because the DNC, in my opinion, this is going to sound very crazy, but I think that after Occupy Wall Street, I think the Democratic Party I think that the elites and the people in control were terrified of what happened after Occupy Wall Street. And they falsely poisoned-pilled the entire liberal, leftist, left-wing movement with identity politics. They poisoned the entire thing. And the Democratic Party, in my opinion, this sounds crazy, but I think that they are engineered to lose. They are engineered to lose, and it's working as intended. Because the people that are at the top that are making these decisions, and again, if they win, great. But if they lose, it doesn't matter.
You want to know my theory on things? I think things, ever since Jesus died, pretty much. Now, bear with me here. Even the non-religious freaks like myself, even people who aren't Christian, whatever. I think that was the turning point, legitimately. I think that there was a bunch of bad stuff going on, and a bunch of good stuff going on, and it was about the same. And I think as time went on, we got more good and more bad. And I think even as time moved on even more, we got even more good, even more bad. And now we are at the time where there has been the most good that there's ever been, and the most bad that there's ever been, and it's going fucking insane, and it's only gonna get better and worse. There's more to come until it all just can't handle it anymore. Everything splits and it explodes, and we're all done, and we move on to the next story, I guess. Earth 2.0. Earth Realm 2.0. Not even really Earth, the planet.
Because basically what they're doing is they're sabotaging a group of people that if they get into power and they don't have this other identity politics noise going on, they could actually turn their sights at these corporations and at this financial, political elite ruling class. So I think that they've used identity politics to poison pill leftist politics. And that's the reason why you don't have conversations about, like, why are all these illegal aliens being exploited inside of these factories to begin with? Why is this even a noble pursuit that's worth protecting at all? What kind of self-respecting leftist person that's a communist would think that it's a good thing?
Yeah, with the exploiting illegal immigrants thing, when companies get so big, they have the most amount of people that they can get buying their products, using their services. The only thing they can do is make everyone make less money so they can have more money. And then there's eventually, there comes a time where these corporations, these companies are like, well, we can't pay anybody any less legally. The government won't let us. So we're just going to have to start paying people under the table. And then everybody starts doing it. Then what's the government going to do when everybody's doing it? They're going to start doing it too.
That you have a bunch of these people working that have no control, no ownership of the production, and nothing. Like, you would assume that, like, this is absolutely not a good thing, but you have them going lockstep with it because they have been poison pilled. That's what's happened. Party's always been a party of race politics since their founding. They were never the party of the small man. Well, I mean, I just gave you the point of reference where I think that it changed, where I think that they provided a perspective of the small man, and just that was enough to scare the companies into poisoning all of politics with race politics and identity politics to distract them from class politics and from income disparity and income inequality. I will refer back to one of the many statistics that after the year 2021, after the COVID recession.
Yeah, okay, so he's talking about Occupy Wall Street. A lot of people don't know about what happened after just a few days of Occupy Wall Street. It might have even been after 2 days. That they were tired of it happening. They were tired of it going on. So they start planting bad actors in there to turn everything sour, to make the movement completely die and fall apart. Normal people aren't behind it anymore. Now all they've got is crazy people, and they can control crazy people because crazy people are stupid and very predictable. They're only unpredictable if it's one-on-one. If you are a government who's trying to control a mass group of crazy people, it's really easy to control them. Make all the normal people leave. All that you're left with is the crazy, stupid people, and they're going to do basically whatever you want them to do, and they don't even know it.
Over 90% of the recovery in the economy was experienced by...
Oh yeah, I was talking about that because that's basically what they did with everything. They just did Occupy Wall Street, but at the highest level, and stretched it out over years.
Literally the top 1% of the economy. The top 1% of the population. That number going up isn't your graph, but it's theirs. And because they control so much of it, they want you to believe that the number going up is going to help you.
Yep.
It's a wealth transfer.
Yeah, eventually it's going to be a real big problem when the 1% have to join the 99%. And then the problem's going to be the 0.1%. And then we're really going to have problems when they have to join everybody. And then we have to deal with the 0.01%. But I think that's going to be a problem for the 0.01%. And then everything's just going to fucking collapse.
Massive wealth transfer.
Yep.
Exactly. And the Democrats disowned the working class. They lost the majority of their base. Exactly.
It's going to get so bad that even rich people are going to stop being rich. There's going to be more rich people than ever, but also more poor people than ever. As in, like, the rich people are going to be so rich, and there's going to be nobody in the middle. There's going to be uber poor, uber rich, and then this area is going to be blank.
I think they 100% did. Did race and identity politics come in Obama's time? I think that it definitely, like Obama being the first black president, definitely put race politics in the forefront. It absolutely did. But I think that more so it was after Occupy Wall Street, because Occupy Wall Street was 2011, 2012, and social identity politics really started taking hold in 2013 and 14. It was like right after that.
You could even argue that it started with 9/11 because there was a lot of racism around 9/11 toward Muslims, which, you know, I'm not even going to touch that.
Why not?
And I think that also Trump, when he first ran for president, one of the reasons why he had such an explosive level of success, especially online, is because it was a direct refutation of that injection of social and race politics.
If Ken Martin's watching this, text me back. But really, I mean, I think it's disappointing that we haven't been able to see the DNC really get off the ground since the election, because I think a lot of things have happened internally that have been distractions to the actual ground game that we need right now.
No, our motto is, when they go low, we go high.
For Destiny,
they don't care. They don't give a shit.
It's a ground game that must reflect the online culture he and millions of young Americans are part of, one that is often characterized by un-PC language.
Why it's okay to use the word retard. I'm going to tell you something, that if you want young men to vote for you, policing their language is the way to lose.
Yep.
Young men use all kinds of slurs constantly around each other.
Yep.
They still use the F word. They still use the N word. They do it constantly. And the R word isn't the R word, it's retard.
Yep.
Young men
fucking
are
retards.
crass, aggressive. I think, you know, like kind of brusque. Like they're assholes.
We're apes. We're basically just big monkeys who just happen to learn how to talk and make clothes and use computers.
And yeah, they're clankers, exactly. Bathroom talk, yeah, exactly. And that's the way that men talk. And so when you have a bunch of Karens sitting around virtue signaling about how bad saying retard is, I'm sorry, but you're not going to win the votes of the young men. Yeah, they're abrasive, exactly.
Yeah. Especially when we discover that you really don't like the word retard, and then we just keep saying it and you start crying. Like, we're just going to laugh at you.
And this starts at about age, I would say, for boys, like 8 or 9.
Yep.
And from like 8 or 9 to like 50. That's the way guys are.
Yeah, I think it starts at 8 or 9, and then 12 to 14, you really start to learn and start to refine it. And you're starting to really get good at it when you're about 16, 17, 18. And then by the time you're about 25, you're like, I'd say that I'm a pretty good, I could be a champion. I could be a champion profanity user. I wouldn't say I'm a master. Not quite there yet. Maybe that's around 50 years old. You become a master and you have to hold back because your power level is too high. You just destroy everybody immediately.
Insults and crude humor, like this tweet Destiny sent, poking conservatives by saying the kids who died in the Texas floods were proof that God doesn't exist.
What?
The tweets you sent about the kids in Texas would
I saw this
probably
already.
disqualify you, or would probably have somebody in the upper
He's not going to be
levels of the
president.
Democratic Party say, okay, we'll never work with this guy again.
Yeah.
Do you regret sending those tweets?
I think they have to get over it. I don't regret them. I love poking the bear on the right. I feel like Republicans are so good at owning the space. Republicans do.
I think people who got actually upset at him saying those things are retarded because they're just giving him power. You're just making him out to be the villain that he wants everybody to see him as. When you really just should make fun of him because he's a massive fucking retard. And he doesn't want to be a massive fucking retard. He wants to be the villain to the right wing, who he thinks is fucking stupid and evil. So, like, I mean, come on.
This thing where they say,
I'm not going to get into it a lot, but I do think that, like, making comments like that at the expense of the victims generally isn't a good way to garner sympathy. And if you're being pragmatic and you want to win elections, like Destiny was just criticizing the Democratic Party for, is making fun of the little girls that died in the Texas flood.
I don't think it matters.
Going to move you closer to or farther away from winning elections. In my opinion, I think it moves you farther away from it.
Yep. I don't think it matters to Destiny. I don't think it matters to any of us. I don't think it matters to anybody. I think Destiny's just a fucking moron online who has like a following of retards, you know? And he himself is king of his retards. And they're all just fucking morons blowing each other over there.
So while you criticize and complain about the Democratic Party not trying to win elections, I think that this language and this type of, like behavior is just simply not, it's not beneficial. It's just not. And I don't think you can compare it, by the way, with illegal aliens being deported, because I'm sure somebody will make that comparison. Illegal aliens broke the law. They're adults. They broke the law. They're getting deported. That's the way it is. It's that simple. So whenever you're holding an adult accountable for their own actions, that's very different than, like watching and saying that it's a good thing that a child died. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, these are very, very different things.
He's legal again, and we can joke about anything. But when they say anything, they really just mean like immigrants and black people, right? Because if you make fun of anything on their side, they lose their minds.
I don't think that's true, and I think that if you just look at the way that Charlie Kirk, for example, if you want to use him for an example, he thought the jokes about him that were made on South Park were funny, and he even changed his profile picture to like whatever the character was. It was
this whole thing where like people lose their minds online, and you see everybody talking about it, and it's just like, oh, it got trending, so everybody said one thing about him. Everybody said one thing about it, and he's like, they're losing their minds, and like, no, it just got trending. Some people sure are losing their minds, but nobody of importance, because you just said a stupid, shitty joke. You made yourself look like a fucking asshole and a piece of shit, but we already knew that you were. So, like, it's not even really a big deal. We were just like, haha, look, Destiny's a fucking moron. And then Destiny's like, oh, they're losing their minds.
Cartman. So, like, I don't really even think this is true. I think that in some cases it's true. And he's right that people are fragile in cases where, like, they could look bad, but they're not in cases where they wouldn't be. Like Vance, too. Yeah, the J.D. Vance memes as well. But I think that, like, there's elements of truth in this, but it's not big. Little girls dying equals black people and Hispanic jokes? Well, I think that, like, yeah, it's a very big difference.
Your point that, you know, always trying to take the high ground is clearly not working for Democrats?
One of the things that conservatives stumbled into accidentally, because I think Donald Trump's an idiot, even politically, but they stumbled into this thing where people started to get confused because of what the right and left looked like, and I think they think that you need an extreme...
I think that if you think that Donald Trump is an idiot, I think that you need to reevaluate your analysis of intelligence.
Yeah. If you think Donald Trump is an idiot and is dumb, a dumb guy who isn't capable of being president, you are a bigger idiot than you think he is. He was smart enough to become the president.
Because intelligence isn't just simply the ability for a person to do math or be able to read something and remember what they read. At the end of the day, I view intelligence primarily as the ability to
get shit
create outcomes that are beneficial for yourself. If you think that you're really smart, but you constantly can't create outcomes that are beneficial for you, I don't think you're actually that smart.
True. Just because you can retain and repeat information. If you ain't doing shit with it, then who's the dummy? And I think this whole basing everything on intelligence and IQ, I think it's fucking ridiculous. Because I think everybody is a genius at something. And the people who aren't a genius at something just haven't found the thing that they're a genius at. And I think it's probably about equal. I think everybody gets gifts. Some people just are able to outright utilize them immediately, and others aren't. And I can't explain that.
Platform in order to win elections. But what you really need, I think, is just extremist messaging. I think that's what you need.
Back inside, the packed event giving the Un-F America organizers hope there will be appetite for similar debates on college campuses this fall.
I do 100 hours of this a semester. 100 hours. In addition to 2 hours of podcasting radio. I mean, the physical crowds are now 3,000-4,000 people almost every time.
It's a lot of people.
And so the plan for this semester is Charlie Kirk shows up at campuses all across the country, and you guys are going to be there too.
That's the goal. If we can raise some
smart. That's smart. That's a good idea.
Enough money to get there, we absolutely will. People wonder why the youth vote shifted 9% to the right.
Yeah.
And that's a big reason why. He's put the footwork in and we haven't.
I think that this is definitely a very good thing that Democrats are realizing this. And also people are surprised.
They got to be careful, though, if it's like Democrats that are hanging around leeching off of right-wing events, that they don't end up being controlled opposition. You don't want that.
Guys, this is a really good video by CNN. I think it was. This is like unironically a good video that was fair.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be way worse.
Yeah, they're discussing it in a genuine way. And I think that really what they've realized is that CNN, and I think that a lot of the Democrat establishment has realized that they disenfranchised and they deplatformed so many people that those people now are so large that they can create their own platforms, like what Charlie Kirk has done. And so they can no longer rely on just simply removing people's access to discussion. And so now that they have to come to the table, they have to come, you know, there's a big come to Jesus moment here, right? Where like, hey, maybe what we're doing isn't working. And that's clearly what's happened.
I think it cleaned up YouTube quite a bit, actually. I think it's what gave us retard back, is because people that were being silenced on YouTube were just going over to Rumble. And it was okay at first, but then everybody was talking about Rumble and YouTube was starting to sweat. They were like, oh no, we better roll this back a little bit. We're starting to create our competitors. Just look at the Twitch and Kick situation. Kick, I'm pretty sure, has overtaken Twitch at this point. I think it might be bigger than Twitch now. If not, it's pretty damn close. Like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell for all notifications.